Thank you very much. So now getting back to business, my company name is Arham Technovision. So we are specialists in cutting tools as far as required for metal machining. So this is where our business started or incorporated or where our maximum experience lies. So we are authorized distributor for Pune, Satara and Solapur, and I have worked for 8 years with a Korean MNC called Tegutech, and after which Tegutech themselves have offered me this distributorship as a, you can say it was business come promotion. So Duracab is their second brand of Tegutech and we are distributor for that. And today, like in BNI, we focus on power of one. So our baby called Duracab is now grown up enough to sustain on themselves. So now we are focusing on our second baby called Chembon. So which is into bonding solution. So today's my complete presentation would be focused on Chembon products. Sir, yes. So now, what is Chembond into? Chembond is basically into all kind of engineering, adhesives, sealants required for all manufacturing industries. Now, in simple words, in a very layman's language, it is as good as Fevicol. But Fevicol is for very basic purpose, for very basic applications. It cannot sustain higher pressure, it cannot sustain higher temperatures or various environment conditions coming into picture when other products are running in the market. So this is where adhesive come into picture. So next slide. So these are few products which I will be explaining further: retaining compounds, thread locker, thread sealant, gasketing compounds. So one more click. So thread locking. Thread locking is as simple as that. There are many nuts and bolts which are being fixed across the market. So if there are any vibrations in automobiles or anywhere where there is vibration, there is a scope of threads coming out, and the job or the vehicle getting dismantled by themselves. So thread lockers basically lock that threads which are done. So thread lockers application is there. So next slide. So now, sorry, I'll just, yeah. So I will just rush through, like, this is engine bolts. Engine bolts are typically where very high temperature, very high pressure is required. So there our products means actually come into picture how we can help that industry. Second is into washing machine drum. Now when washing machine drum is rotating, it is rotating at a very high RPM, as well as heavy vibrations are happening there. So there where comes into picture like washing machine industry. Now thread sealing thread sealing. Now thread sealing and thread lockers are almost similar but still very different. Thread locking basically locks the screw from getting dismantled, whereas thread sealing helps no liquid or no fluid should get transferred or get leakages out of it. So again we come into thread sealing. So sealing of pores. So basically wherever the hydraulic pneumatic thread joints are there this sealing comes into picture. Now luckily or something like we have one plumber, so they will use normally a white tape which we would normally see across whenever our plumbing work is going on. Now what is that? They are basically sealing it, but that is normal water at a normal pressure at a normal temperature, so it can work. But when you go to bigger components, that kind of taping does not work. That cannot sustain that kind of pressure. So there is where thread sealants come into picture, and we cater to that kind of industry. So basically heat exchangers, boilers, boiler manufacturers, or oil or water cooler manufacturers, hydraulic systems manufacturers. So these are basically our focus area in that segment. Retaining compound, these are the most products required as far as automobile industry is concerned. Wherever there are mating parts, just to show you few photos, like you can see a cylindrical shaft and a what you can say sleeve or bearing or whatever. Now when this is to be bonded, retaining compounds are used. So there are various what you can say axles on which gears are being mounted or any other different surfaces. So metal to metal retaining compounds come into picture. In motor there is a huge consumption in motor where retaining compounds are used. This is again a photo of electric motor. shaft, bearing and shaft. This is gear shaft on bearing. Gasketing. Now gasketing, when big walls are getting bonded, so gasketing layer is formed between the two surfaces. So these are gasketing compounds used for rigid flanges and various housings and all the automobile components where they are meeting parts. The gasketing is used, and again the challenges are in terms of temperature, in terms of pressure, in terms of curing time in production line. The curing time is very critical. It is measured in seconds, it is measured in hours, whatever is based on their cycle. So we come into, so then there are various silicon products for various axle beams and all that. So based on the application, whether it is metal to metal bonding or metal to rubber bonding or which kind of bondings you require, based on that few alterations are done within that product, and we come into picture into all these kind of components wherever assembly is done. So now focusing on specific as electronic companies, we especially in electronic companies there is a product called potting compound, which basically fills the gaps in the you can say circuits or wherever they are requiring the wire movement should not happen. So potting compound. So we are focusing on electric companies. Jabil is one of them. We have already contacted in our discussion. Motor industries is again a big segment. Somebody like Shada Motors, earth moving equipments where JCB on all that requires huge amount of returning compounds. Instrument manufacturers, various instrument manufacturers have glass to metal bondings, which has a very critical applications. Luckily, our member Sandeep Patil has recently introduced me to Tektron, where our trials are running on for the similar kind of application. So Baker, Vika Instruments are similar kind of industry. So that's all from my side, focusing on adhesive requirements and this is a segment where applications are huge and it can be very varied across the segment. These are just a few hints for you to generate reference for us. So thank you very much. Thank you.